Great. Welcome. And then was that Vincent?
Yeah, hi, Northern California, saying hello.
Hello, welcome. And I'm just gonna look in the chat.
I'm Sharif Abdullah. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and nice to be here.
Hello, Sharif.
Hello.
Welcome. And I'll just.
I'm Anita Manuel, and I'm in Abingdon, Virginia, right in all the rain from Ida. Now that it's just a big round rainstorm.
I am Seth, Northampton, Massachusetts.
Welcome, Seth.
Bill and Joanne Lang from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hello, welcome.
Kath from Melbourne in Australia.
Wow. Welcome, Australia. What time is it there?
It's 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Joining us
Tomorrow
from the
happens. That's
future.
good.
Tomorrow does happen, yes.
I'm Crystal from Denver, the home of the Arapaho and Cheyenne.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Welcome back. Great. And I'll read some of the, let's see here. Actually, most of you might have said where you're coming from also. There's Matt from North Carolina Mountains here. And Jesse from Orange County, California. Philip from Baltimore, Maryland. Eddie from Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Welcome. Welcome. So many beautiful faces. Great. Well, I think we've all assembled. I'd love to move us right on into our opening prayer, and our dear friend Jesse will be doing that for us in just a moment. So Jesse, welcome and thank you for opening our beautiful space today together.
And thank you for inviting me to do the opening and the honor of doing the opening. So from Father Sky, I light the candle that lights our way here on earth and brings us together as a group. And our group in our pod in Orange County collaborated on writing this prayer, this poem for us today. We love you, Mother Earth, for your ability to sustain life for a vast range of amazing creatures. We love you for your magnificent beauty, the crash of ocean waves on the shore, the healing fragrance of the forest, the breathtaking view from snow-capped mountains, the twinkle of the stars in the darkness of night. We love you, Mother Earth, for keeping us awestruck with your ability to regenerate yourself, your expansiveness, and your transcendent grandeur. We're grateful to you, Mother Earth, for providing for the life of all, people, plants, trees, and creatures big and small, for giving us the ground to walk on and the means to shelter ourselves. We're grateful to you for the amazing harvest of fruits and vegetables, fresh water and clean air. Every moment you show us through color and texture, fragrance and taste, sound and silence. You are a master creator. Mother Earth, we know we've pushed you to the brink of collapse and you've lost your patience with us. We humbly ask your forgiveness for our failure to honor and care for you. We know that the only way to show you the sincerity of our remorse is to change our ways. We will protect you, Mother Earth, by cherishing you like a beloved treasure that's been entrusted to us. We will protect you, Mother Earth, by coming together with others who care for you, by not just talking, but by taking action, being conscious of our choices throughout the day and doing our best to do no further harm to you. We will protect you, Mother Earth, by sacrificing convenience and being willing to change our lifestyles. We will protect you, Mother Earth, by honoring our intrinsic connection with you. We will be a blessing to you, Mother Earth, by recognizing we're the ones being called to defend and protect you. We will be a blessing to you by taking care of the resources you share with us, using them in a way that is sustainable, nurturing, and allows your well-being to flourish. We will see your beauty wherever we go. We will be mindful to know you in our hearts and act with gratitude toward you. Thank you, Mother Earth.
Thank you, Mother Earth, and thank you, Jesse, for that beautiful prayer. I hope you will share that with us so that we can maybe put that out on in our newsletter or on the website. That was really powerful.
That comes from the Orange County Pod for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, we can take this next moment to sort of move in and welcome everyone. I see some old faces and some new faces as well. So just to give a quick orientation of our time here today, we've had our opening prayer. We will now move into a segment where we will have updates from the Order of the Sacred Earth team, followed by a piece that Jesse and Anita will speak about, an upcoming idea that might affect the rest of the Order of the Sacred Earth global connection. And then we will open it up to the rest of the group for general check-in. And then we will have a closing prayer led by Phila Hoops. So that's sort of just a general run through of what our time will look like here today. And Skylar or Matthew, feel free to chime in with any sort of welcome or information that anybody that's joining for the first time might be curious to know about Order of the Sacred Earth.
Thanks so much, Mariko. It's good to be with you all. I'm Skylar Wilson for anyone who's new, and I love this community. I love the free-flowing nature of it, the fact that every one of these meetings is different and is responding to the moment in its own unique beauty and challenges. And so I come, I guess I'll just say a little bit about this, the process of our forming this, the shape of this council comes from wanting to hold space for the emergence that's the intelligence of our collective community, and give space for that, as opposed to making it lecture format or anything like that. And 4 things to consider when you're sharing. One is you don't have to share. There's no pressure to share. You can always sit back and enjoy the community, but it would be lovely to hear from you. And to speak from the heart, to speak from your own experience, and to listen from the heart, and to be brief, to the point, respect everybody's time, the group's time, and I think that's it. So welcome to all of you, and thanks so much, Mariko, for holding the container. And I love this community, and it's great to be here.
Thanks, Skylar.
Well, thank you, Skylar, and thank you, Jesse and Mariko. I just have 2 quick things to say. One is that I have a friend who lived through Ida in New Orleans yesterday, and his roof was not ripped off, nor were his windows broken. So that's the good news. And a next door neighbor had a generator, so he actually has electricity, though it doesn't do the air conditioning. So he's without air conditioning. But he did say, he said the situation is dire in New Orleans, really dire. So he's even thinking of maybe leaving, except he has a friend who's older than he is, who maybe should stick around to help. But just to put that reality into our minds and consciousness at this time, there is a lot of struggle to survive in New Orleans right now. And of course, imagine being in there, 100-degree heat and 100-degree humidity and no air condition. So, so I just want to show that. But secondly, I want to introduce you just slightly to Sharif Abdullah, who's with us today. Now I don't see you. Are you still there? Oh, there you are. Great. You've moved on the screen. I don't know how someone does that. That's pretty slippery. But anyway, Sharif is a great guy. I first met him through his book, with a marvelous title called A World That Works for Everybody. I think that's what it is. And he's been playing out that that theory, that hope ever since, and that's several decades. But he has some movements afoot that seem to complement very much the vision of Order of the Sacred Earth. So he's been looking at our materials, and see, he has a TED Talk out there. You can check out his TED Talk, and he has a workbook called Practicing Inclusivity, which looks really good. And he has a website called Common Way website. And lately he's actually been doing novels called The Chronicles of the Upheavals, which is a set of novels about 100 years from now, after humanity goes through a real breakdown and breakthrough. So he's a very creative guy, and I'm real glad that he's joining us today. And I hope we'll see more of him. Maybe next time he can do a little leadership thing. But today I'm sure he'll share some of his insights with us in the wheel that goes around here. So welcome, Sharif. I'm glad you're with us. And of course, you've been living in Portland forever. Well, he's lived in Sri Lanka. He's worked a lot with people there who went through the war and the rest in Sri Lanka. And he has I would say he's an engaged Buddhist, as they say.
Well, I'm an engaged Buddhist. I'm also an engaged Muslim. I'm an engaged Christian. I'm an engaged just about everything. I take everybody's holidays, and I leave all the garbage. Okay, so, and believe me, everybody's got garbage. And Matt, the only thing I wanted to correct was the title of the book is Creating a World That Works for All.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
By all, I mean, it really is everybody, but all means really all, including the folks that don't have bodies.
Exactly. And the all includes the more than human world too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for correcting my mistake.
If I can say one thing, Matt was asked to introduce me when I was speaking in Oakland at a church there a few decades ago, and he was told to take 5 or 10 minutes to introduce me. 30 minutes later,
really?
30 minutes later, and he's espousing on St. Thomas Aquinas, and he's looking at the ceiling. He's like, and the organizers are like, no, stop. It was I enjoyed it. I took notes during my lecture.
Hey, I don't remember that. What church was that?
I bet you don't.
They never asked me back.
Yeah, right. Me either.
You either.
Okay.
I'm glad you
I'm turning my microphone off now. Okay.
I am too.
I love that so much. I love the chemistry that happens there, and we'll definitely have to have you both back on, and you can go for however long you'd like. We'll all take notes. Great. So I'll just move us right along into sort of the dialogue part. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jesse and Anita, who have been collaborating. Well, I'll let them tell you about it, but they've been collaborating and have a wonderful idea that they're hoping to propose to the larger council. So Jesse, Anita, take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to start actually with a mistake also. We had talked on here, about online pods, and it was never quite happening, but we're waiting. And Jesse actually invited me to his pod in California, but I thought he was inviting me to the new online pod. So it didn't turn out that way, but it did turn out really wonderfully in another way, which is this allowed us to begin having what I'm calling deeper conversations. And so we've been having one-on-one conversations that have really been exploring a lot in the last few weeks. And, we just got to the point where we're saying, there's not time in the council meeting. We need to have this. Other people need to have this opportunity, whether it's just getting to know everything about one other person, or whether it's about having the opportunity for smaller, individual one-on-one, or maybe very small groups that are focused around a particular topic to explore. And so that's why we wanted to bring here an invitation to the people who are here. Maybe Mariko, this can go out in some way also, so that it can get, everybody on the mailing list.
Absolutely.
And what we'd like to do is put together a small working group to just look at all the practical issues around this and how it could work. We're most interested, we're coming right now from this ability to have one-on-one and find one-on-one partners, but there can be other things that the working group would also talk about. So whatever gets started first would be a good platform, that could be expanded to these other kinds of outside of the council meeting possibilities. So I think I'll go ahead and hand it to Jesse at this point to see what I've left out and what he's going to add.
You sure you want to pass it up? Because Anita knows that I can get kind of carried away sometimes. So the idea gets a little bit bigger, but it's really an invitation, as Anita said, to anyone who would like to join us as a working group to have a conversation about what one-on-one conversations might look like, small groups, how we can connect individuals, pods, just in what I call an online community, which might be a bigger idea, what that might look like. What are the possibilities and what is realistic within the scope of what we can do right now. So really it's an information gathering group as well, and something where we would come back to the main council and say, this is what we found, and these are some suggestions we have, and any decisions or conversation can go from there. So I'm going to share my email address with you, and you can email me there if you're interested, and we'll figure out how we can connect with each other, and possibly if Mariko, whoever manages the Order of the Sacred Earth email, they can also, maybe if you don't get the email now, you can share this out. Sound good?
Wonderful. Yeah, feel free to, you can email the General Order of the Sacred Earth email, or actually, if you go onto the website, you can probably find Jesse's contact there as well. But if you're interested at all, you could even pop it in the chat right now. We'll definitely get you connected. And I just want to give you both just a huge bow of gratitude for taking this on, because I know this is something that the community has long been looking for in one way or another, is just a space to connect outside of these council calls, which again, once a month for an hour, and it's so hard with all of the different time zones and geographical locations and managing our life things to make time for that. So thank you both for sort of spearheading this project, and I'm so excited to see what will come and to hear your update next month.
Right, that's a goal then, to have an update for next month.
Yeah.
So,
And if there's
thank you,
any,
Mariko.
if there's any immediate questions right now that anybody might have, are there? No, then please email us the questions also.
Oh, I see a hand waving. Is that Diana?
Oh, yes. So we've been longtime Earth activists and involved in Earth loving creativity, but we're new to Sacred Earth. Do you require experience in this working group, or just conversations and a big heart?
I would say conversations and a big heart, and you have experience. Everybody here has experience to be able to offer.
Thank you. Yes, we do. And I honor the gift and the grace and the privilege to be able to share it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. And Diana, if you want to drop your email or something like that into the chat, and I see that Jesse's actually put his email in there as well. So feel free to grab that just to make sure that you do end up connected. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank
Are
you.
there any other questions for Jesse and Anita? You can wave a hand or unmute yourself.
There's no problem. It's an immediate idea for everybody here, and we'll be happy to field any questions that come in, as well as, offers of actually being part of the working group.
Thank you both for creating this working group. It's something we've been wanting to create for a long time, but wanting help in creating it. So thanks for your leadership in doing that. And I just want to plug what I feel like is the importance of having connective dyads and smaller groups to do this work and to support the deepening of it. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you both. I'd also like to introduce my friend Matt, who's here, who we met in ceremony, actually through, he's a mushroom grower here in North Carolina. And then he came to a ceremony that I was hosting, and I'm just really happy to see you on here. And he just got the book, and he's an amazing farmer and lives very close to the land and grows all kinds of mushrooms and makes medicine from reishi and lion's mane and many different types of mushrooms, as well as plants. And so I'd love to just give you a chance to speak about your connection to the earth and the medicine that you make, if you feel like you'd like to.
Hey, so as Skylar said, I'm Matt. My wife and I live about an hour outside Asheville, North Carolina. We're primarily farmers and foragers. We operate an indoor grow room for our culinary and medicinal mushrooms. And we're on just under an acre of land that we have under cultivation too for food and flowers and also medicinal herbs. We do a lot of garlic, ashwagandha, ginger, turmeric, horseradish, things like that. Meeting Skylar was great, and finding out about the Order of the Sacred Earth was great, because we like to use our farm as sort of a demonstration point to show people what's possible in an urban environment, what's possible on a small amount of land, and how to really integrate your systems from top to bottom so you can still do permaculture, but you're not having to invest in a permaculture design specialist and have a 10-acre design plan and invest all this money and all this time. A lot of what we do is about working with the materials that are freely available and low-tech methods that utilize low energy and things of that nature. We love what we do. We love hosting school groups and basically any tour groups that want to come through here to learn. And we feel like we have a vision that really resonates with what I've been learning about the Order of the Sacred Earth. And I'm really excited to be here tonight.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, and if you have any links that you'd like to drop into the chat, if anybody's curious, like if you have the capability to do that, that would be amazing. I'd love to know a little bit more about what you do and dig a little deeper outside of this call. Yeah, and I'm also realizing that I totally skipped over the Order of the Sacred Earth updates, and we have a pretty big update. I don't know, Matthew or Skylar, if you wanted to take that. I don't know, Matthew, did you want to speak a little bit about the Parliament of World Religions? Oh, I think you might be muted.
Yes, well, the Parliament of World Religions is meeting again this fall, and we just got word last day or two that there will be a panel on the Order of the Sacred Earth, which will include Mariko and Skylar and myself. And we have the date and so forth, but I don't have it. I bet Mariko does. And we'll also have a cosmic mass online at the World Parliament. And we've been given 2 hours for it. We won't take all that time, but it's at a good time. I know it's on a Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think that's the latest news there. So Skylar will be designing that with some of our other team and myself too. And the theme will be our sacred earth. That would be the theme of that cosmic mass. So that's what I know. Skylar may know more.
Well, yeah, it's the Sunday. The Cosmic Mass is on the Sunday of October 18th or 19th. I can't remember, but it's that Sunday. And then we're going to be doing a panel the next day on the Monday, 18th or 19th, on the Order of the Sacred Earth. And so we did almost exactly a year ago a Cosmic Mass that was part of the Peace Week. That was Unity Earth is an organization that brings together lots of different organizations, and with a similar cause as ours, which is to bring everybody's awareness to the earth and to our common plight and our common problems and our common opportunities as human beings with the more than human world as well. And I was surprised at how good the Cosmic Mass translated to online. We had a DJ, everybody was dancing, and there's a tech person who's able to shift between everyone's cameras. So it felt like you were dancing with hundreds and hundreds of other people. And it felt like we were connecting with the earth and the cosmos, and it was moving through us in a way that was not as good as in person, but almost. And so I'm sure we'll have a link. I'm not sure if you have to be signed up to the Parliament of the World's Religions conference to join us, but if there's any way that we can invite all of you to be part of it, then just email us if you'd like to know more. Thanks.
And the dates, I just looked at the calendar. I guess it must be the 17th is Sunday and the 18th is Monday. So I presume those are the dates. Yeah.
That's perfect.
And do you know what time the panel is, Skylar? Or
yes, it was 3:45 Eastern time, I believe. And I'll send it out in the next newsletter. I'll send information about the event.
Yeah, they'll confirm that. Mm-hmm.
And I've dropped some of the information into the chat as well. So I do believe that you need tickets to attend, and today is the last day to get the early bird tickets. So just feel free to pop on there and check it out if you want. But I'm sure we'll send more information out on in the newsletter, like Skylar said. And I don't know how recordings work. Do you know? I'm sure we'll record it in some way and be able to share it, right? Yeah.
We'll make sure that happens, that it's recorded as well. So, but it's not the same as being there in real time.
Exactly. Great. Are there any other Order of the Sacred Earth updates? We can move into sort of check in with the council if there aren't any other pressing.
Yeah, I feel like there is a lot more that could be said, but I want to leave enough time for everyone to have a chance to speak. So I think I'm going to pause on the other updates that we have because they're not time sensitive. So so I'd like to open up the council, to others. And again, just we have 20 something participants. So you can just keep your check-in to about a minute, then that would give enough time, no more than a minute. That'll give time to everyone who's with us.
Wonderful. Yeah, and any check-in at all Earth related, and it's helpful if you wanted to say your name, where you're calling from again. And then if you're part of a pod, an active pod, what your pod has been up to, or something that you've been doing individually, if you're not part of a pod that is related to Earth activism, or questions or anything that's coming up for you.
Yeah, and also just, or your personal connection to the earth, and potentially any way that you feel you're needing support. That can be another thing that you could speak to.
Hi, this is Seth. I'll just share that a couple of things in Matthew's daily meditations have struck me in particular this last couple of weeks. One is how I fulfill my role as an elder. The other is acedia, kind of listlessness. I'm just grappling with that when I know that I have to generate my enthusiasm from within and not have it dependent on any narrative or any particular narrative. But I easily drift into the narratives of despair, the narratives of doom. And so I realize it's my responsibility to create a different narrative or to maintain a Holy Spirit despite that. And I've been dealing with that for a long time, but I think lately realizing more and more that I have to go deeper within rather than looking for an outlet in the outer world. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Joanne, did I see you?
It's Bill.
Oh, Bill, go ahead.
Well, Joanne and I recently, or in fact, it was last week, we went up to the Apostle Islands in Lake Superior and stayed a week on Madeline Island. It was quite an experience, the beauty of it, and also to be aware of what people are doing up there. They're very concerned about the water of Lake Superior, which there's a proposal that the water be bottled by a company and sold. And so there's signs everywhere saying, we're not for sale. We learned a lot up there. We learned a little bit about the Ojibwe Nation, and that the island was named after a Ojibwe princess who married a fur trader and took the name of Madeline. We were very impressed by the beauty of the island, and we were very appreciative of the closeness of the earth that we experienced. We also went a little bit further south into Wisconsin to the what's called the falls of what is it called? Copper Falls. The Copper Falls, and that was just very moving and very important for me anyway, to see that and consider the beauty of nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Joanne. Is that Edie? Did I say that right? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, my name is Edie. This is the first time I've come on to one of these gatherings. I was a student at UCS back in 1991 to 2006. So hi, Matt. And I've been a long time activist. My husband and I live in the city, and we have a little, we've taken our little lot and turned it into gardens, and we have chickens, and the neighbors so far haven't run us out. But it's what I came on the call tonight. I relate to what Seth was saying. I feel a lot of sorrow, and a lot of it's the loneliness. So I knew I just needed to be around people who are connecting, and it's really nice to be part. I'd love to be part of a pod down here. I don't know if any of that, if you all hear of anybody, and it's nice to see the folks from St. Louis, Diana and Jim. So I'll get in touch with you guys for sure. But down here in Southeast Missouri, it'd be great to get together with some folks who are farming and doing stuff. So thank you. Thanks for doing this work.
Okay, Missouri will continue. Hi, Edie. My husband and I, Jim is kind of on the screen there. We went this weekend to a Washington County Homegrown farm tour, and we were inspired by the farmers and the young people there. This is rural Missouri, and the young people, the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, had a soybean field. And I think one of the most significant parts of the whole day was that they were talking about both the good things that Monsanto has done to increase their yield of soybeans and the negative things that using pesticides does to the land and to the earth. And being with 5 or 6 farmers who live off the land and on the land and with the land, they didn't use words like reverence and love, but they lived the words reverence and love for the land. And we were deeply touched by it was 90 minutes from, we live in the city of St. Louis, and it was 90 minutes of a drive, and we were greatly benefited from being in the presence of those people.
It was very inspiring.
So thank you. And I would love to get together with you from Cape Girardeau. We were just there in Cape 3 weeks ago. So let's get in touch, Edie. My email is in the chat. Thank you.
Love that inclusive language. Thank you, Diane, Jim. And I love seeing the connections that are happening organically. It's like one of my favorite things that happens during these calls is people will join, and welcome, Edie, to your first call. So thank you for joining us. Anybody have anything else that feels alive for them in this moment? Inspirations, musings?
I could say something.
All right, please do.
I don't know how to wave. Anyway, I'm Montel.
Hi, Montel.
My grandson is a 5th year engineering student at Michigan Tech, which is right by Lake Superior. And he has to take a 1 credit course this year, and it's fishing. He's the 5th year engineering student, and they are working up there at Michigan Tech, and his fiance is a chemical engineer, and they are sustainable fishing that he loves to fish. And so he's going to keep me updated as to what they're doing. but they also, the chemical engineers have devised a system at they're at where Michigan Tech is, it's there by Marquette, Houghton. They've devised a apparatus similar, say, we're all interested in dikes right now, but it goes across the far western end of Lake Superior, and it can gather up all the plastic that's ruined the fishing up there and dissolve it and feed it back. So they're working on that invention. So they're fixing our waters a bit. But I grew up in Montana in the middle of the Rocky Mountains, but my family I've always lived in the West. And Matthew, I met you years ago when you were in Oakland, and I was a student there, graduate student in theology at USF. But I've just always been part of the West, but my family right now are very close to the fires around Reno and Nevada. So now in South Lake Tahoe was burning today. I could hardly come on to this because the trees that have been burned between the whole West Coast is so sad that anything we can do for that. So I've never got on these chats before, but anyway, that's who I am. And that's, I live here at Notre Dame. I retire back here. We have a intergenerational retirement center here. And so I'm in the middle of Notre Dame and St. Mary's and Holy Cross College. So it's very interesting. Okay, amen.
All right.
If I can follow up on that, and I'm actually setting a timer so I keep myself to a minute. I was struck by what Seth said, and something that is that has been pertinent for my organization is keeping aligned with the vision. All the things that we're seeing about how our society is falling apart, how our earth is falling apart, all that is simply afterbirth. Okay, this is the stuff that goes along with birth. And for those of you who have been involved in a birth process, you know it is incredibly messy. If you pay attention to it, it can look like the world is coming to an end. When my first wife was having our first baby, she was yelling and screaming. If people had thought that they didn't know that she was having a baby, they'd think that she was dying. And ta-da, there's a baby. So we need to keep ourselves focused on the baby, not on the afterbirth. Second thing is I'm going to be doing a what's called an awakening center in rural Kansas. So when y'all are talking about Missouri, I'm not too far away. And more on that in a month or so. So thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Sharif. If there's more time at the end, I feel like I don't want to cut anybody short either, but if there's more time at the end, I would love to hear more, and of course, more next month. And Phila, I see your hand. Oh, and then Crystal. Oh, I think you might be muted, Phila.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mariko. It's great to be here. And as I was listening to you, Montel, I was thinking of the process in which I was creating my vegetable garden this spring. After the fires, of course, last year, many of the cedar groves were decimated. And so, of course, the price of cedar is sky high. You can't, it was, very, very expensive. And I, not thinking about this, had wanted to create my raised bed garden out of cedar. I didn't realize until after that this was why the price was so high, and oh my God. So there was a grieving that went along with that. And then a realization that there was something else I could do, raised straw bale. So my lesson is here not so much about the technology, the technologies of creating a garden, but grieving and looking for the alternate, the more sustainable solutions. And on the activist side, boycotting cedar, because as some of you may be aware, Fairy Creek is an old growth stand. It's one of the very, very last old growth stands in Vancouver. And it is currently in great danger of being cut down as part of this lumbering process. So it's a growing awareness that, that everything is activism. Everything is taking a role, playing a role in making a difference, whether it's straw bales for the garden, or writing to Justin Trudeau, or what have you. It's all making a difference. And that's helped me to feel somewhat less helpless as I look at what's happening, that even the smallest decision I make can make a difference. So just that's been rumbling around in my brain and my heart for the past growing season, and just wanted to put that out. Thank you all. And and also, if there's anybody here from the UK with the COP26 conference happening in November, there are wonderful initiatives available for action for individuals and businesses and schools and all kinds of things. So I'll put links to that in there in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you, Phila. Now over to you, Crystal. Go ahead. And I see you, Anita. We'll have you go next.
Well, I'm so glad to be here. This is a thrill every month. Thank you for organizing this. And I just wanted to share that in about a week and a half, on September 11, I'm organizing an event called Creating a World in Harmony with Nature. So I've focused on trying to gather together not so much other earth activists who are already very busy, but people who aren't. And to try to, number one, I show video and I talk about my time in Africa and what I learned from the elephants and as an elephant conservationist, and just awaken a real love and honor of Mother Earth. And so I'll be focused on making the claim for animal and plant intelligence and giving examples of why we should work in collaboration with them to save the planet. So everybody's invited, but you have to come to Denver.
Thank you, Crystal.
Can you tell us, because I don't think you took your full minute, just a few lessons that you've learned from elephants, working closely with elephants?
Well, the indigenous people that I work with in Kenya taught me that if elephants go extinct, human beings will lose our soul and go crazy. They understand that deep, deep interconnectedness with elephants. And elephants, there's just so much to say. What should I pick? It'll take more than a minute. And I don't know if I've told this story before, but I'll try to say it quickly. There was Lyle Watson. Did I tell this last month? Do you mind if I tell it again? Anybody? No. Lyle Watson, a naturalist, was hired by the government of South Africa to run a zoo. And shortly after he was there, somebody brought in a wild elephant. And they put her in a small enclosure, and she walked around smelling the corners. And she came to a corner and she froze as if in fright and moved back. And then she got this look of aha on her face and went and got hay and put it in that corner. So Dr. Watson was observing all of this and asked the zookeeper, who had been there forever, why did she do that? Why did she get afraid? And why did she put the hay there? And the zookeeper said, well, 20 years ago, an elephant died in that corner. So the point of this story to me is that the non-human world has abilities that we can't even imagine, as shown by this elephant, who I don't want to try to even figure out how she did it, because I think she did it with abilities we don't even have. So I don't want to project, human abilities on her abilities, which are beyond ours. But she could tell that 20 years before an elephant had been killed there, because they covered their dead with hay and straw. So that's what my focus is on, is the amazing ability of animals and plants that we need to save the planet. That being one of them. Thanks for asking, Matt.
Thank you, Crystal. It's wonderful.
Thanks for sharing.
Anita, would you like to share?
Sure. So I just realized that this was something that was emerging, particularly in the last month. So my major involvement is with earth regenerators. And there tends to be a lot of kind of sciencey focus, a lot of people who have a lot of education and bring that, and not so much spiritual awareness, together. And so, what's been emerging is for me to actually begin to share in a very quiet way, to enlarge that conversation and find the other people who can contribute to it. And I am coming with Order of the Sacred Earth, because it is so appropriate in that setting. So I just wanted to kind of report that.
Thank you, Anita. I think we've got time for maybe one more sharing before we go into our closing. It's 7:55. Does anybody have a last comment that they'd like to share with the group? Sharif, I see you waving your hand.
Here he goes again.
Yeah.
This is a very quick comment on what Crystal said. Number one, great story. Number two, you said elephants have the abilities that we humans can't conceive of. Yes, we can, as long as we stop thinking like we own the place. And our job, and actually the job of my organization, and all of our job, is to get us back to the thought process that has us re-indiginating, reconnecting with the Great Spirit in such a way that we can do all of that stuff too. So
I'm glad that you said that, because I was feeling the same thing, and I was waiting to jump in because I didn't want to take up any more time. But
Can't hear you.
Yeah, we're picking up a lot of little kids.
We can't hear you.
Oh no.
You'll make it or
Nothing.
something. So,
Am I back?
I can
Am I
hear you
back?
now. Yeah,
Okay.
you're
That
good.
was so weird. It just, the sound cut off. Yeah, I mean, well, what I was saying was just I've met other people, and also with the help of plant medicines as well. Also been in Kenya and been with the Maasai, and then in Peru and other parts of the world where some of those portals are open, and really through the body, through empathizing with the earth and the cosmos as well, but with the earth primarily, through our bodies, we can know and think like the earth, because we are the earth, and we can connect to information that's been stored in places and all of that. So I'm really glad, Crystal, that you told that story of the elephants, because I think they have a lot to teach us. I mean, to be able to smell water from hundreds of miles away and remember things that that happened years and years after. It's because they're tapping into, I believe, the mind of the earth, and that's something that, to your point, Sharif, this birthing process, I'm really feeling connected to that metaphor, because it's like we have no idea what is being birthed, but we do know that something's being birthed, and so I just want to encourage those who are feeling listless or depressed, that to just grieve, to go into it even more, because something beautiful is coming out of this, and the earth will take care of herself. So I think there's hope, just knowing that life is good. It's created all that we see and are, and just want to say that we're all held. I do feel that we're all held in this process. So if you're feeling listless, go into it even more and see what's there, because there's wisdom in there. Thank you all. And Phila, handing it over to you to close us out.
Thank you, Skylar. I was sitting with this, and what would be the most appropriate offering, and thinking a great deal about, of course, Hurricane Ida and the turmoil around the world and everything. And so I came upon this poem by Sousa Silva Marie in Wee Moon Calendar. Wonderful day book full of creativity. It's called Dancing the Planet. The turmoil of our times dances round the world, stamping, frenzied, furious, Kali destroying, Durga creating. In the storm that tosses tiny earth, let us cry and whirl with them. Earth's equilibrium demands that we dance the planet. Lightning flashes all around us, but even as we shudder, we shall be the rods that ground it. As we mediate the thresholds, let us earth each other. That we shake and tremble, we become conductors, transmitters of the change. Let it turn us inside out until protection disappears, until we wear our hearts outside our shell. Unleash it now, the oldest form of worship. Bow and whirl, leap and dart, sway, gyrate, and quiver. The turbulent disorder of these times that we were made for calls for us to meld the parts of self until the fusion powers us like stars. Ride uncertainty in tumult, dance bedlam into balance.
Thank you, Phila. That's really beautiful. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This was a really powerful, packed conversation. So just wishing you all blessings, and be in touch. If you'd like to be connected with Anita or Jesse, I know these are short hours that we spend together. And come back next month, and hopefully Sharif will join us then.
Thank you, Mariko. And does anyone have a problem with us sharing this recording in our next newsletter with those who couldn't be with us? If you do, let us know if there's anything that was said that you feel like you don't want shared. But otherwise, we will be sharing it, and so you can have this and share it. And so the homework that I'm feeling called to offer to everyone is to tell just one person about this community, and so that it can keep growing and getting nourished and nourish one another by this space and time and so much more. And thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Matthew Fox. And thanks to Matt and everyone else who joined for the first time.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Kath, all the way over in Australia. I love seeing people from all over. Great.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Blessings.
Thank you.
Blessing. Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Mariko.
Alhamdulillah.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.